welcome. Little bit of housekeeping here. I'm experiencing a tiny bit of like laryngitis type thing. So we'll see how long my voice holds out. If we get to the end of like the second hour, I might just call it and then just add a guided meditation to the course web page. But we'll see. We'll see how it holds out. You can't hear me, Sharon? Something's going on. Oh, bummer. Sometimes if you log, well, I guess you can't hear me. If you get off and come back on, it'll, let's see. So let's see. What were the other housekeeping things? This is our final session in this deep dive series. But the course website will be there for you guys. And I'll still be around for like questions and anything like that. So, I mean, we're heading into the holidays, so I might be a little bit offline and I'm traveling a little bit and stuff. So, but it continues. So we have been exploring into inhabiting fundamental presence and the way of love. Love, original love that's uncaused. It doesn't have a cause, it just is. It's the nature of source. And I was contemplating just the phrase, the way of love. And I'm making kind of a list of what is the actual nature of it. How does it express? What is the essence? Reverence, awe, gratitude, beauty. It's really spontaneously arising all the time if we can let go and surrender, relinquish, give way, whatever, however we say that best for you. The belief structure that's demanding something of reality. I don't want that. I do want this. I wish that was more. I wish that was less. The expectation, the agenda. We're never going to find the direct experience, I guess you might say, of our true nature, when we are listening to the belief structure. You know, it's kind of like Byron Katie said, when she woke up, she just stopped being a believer. She just wasn't a believer anymore. And that's why we say, right? Question the thoughts, question the beliefs, not out of a heavy-handed, you're wrong to think these things, but just out of compassion, because when we're wrapped up in these beliefs and demands that we're making upon reality, well, that's the struggle. That's suffering. That's what it is. And the ego structure, the egoing verb process that is a function within reality, never stops believing. It has to believe. It has to believe so that it can manufacture itself in every minute, because it's not fundamental. It's not fundamental. It's an experience. It's like having a different lens, right? The lens of, so you're looking at the very same experience, the very same reality, the very same situation, whatever event, and the lens of belief creates one experience, and the lens of fundamental, essential love creates a different experience. It's a different orientation. It's a different experience. So I know this course has maybe seemed a little bit, we've done a lot of inquiry, which can, sometimes be kind of dry. But it truly, the question, who am I? What is I? It's key. Because when we're operating from this center, it's a felt sense of a centered me structure, belief structure. Well, the true nature just is shadowed, veiled. It's not that the true nature isn't present, because we can't be separate from the true nature. But we can get pulled into these states of believing reality is the way we believe it to be. When a big shift in identification happened here, I didn't know to call it spiritual awakening or anything. There wasn't a frame of reference really for that kind of thing. No self or any of the other stuff. I really, if I would have languaged it, and I did back then, it was like coming home and permission to shine. The way of love is the shining. It's the shining of each and every expression as it truly is, without the overlay of the grumbly grumbles, the grumbly grumblers, right? But I want it to be this way, and I prefer it when it's that way. And I'm gonna push it away if it's that way, but I'll grab it if it's that way, and all belief, 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 belief. That's why it's so liberating. That's why they use that word. It's liberating. It liberates the expression. It liberates the expression. It liberates it from the idea and belief of how it should be, and all the stuff that we carry around about guilt, shame, unlovability, unworthy, alone, unconnected, all that stuff is all based on belief. And it's a struggle. It's a real struggle when we're believing that we are separate from source. Which is love. So I wanted to read something out of Adya's Emptiness Dancing. I don't think we've read Adya very much in this course. Freedom, certainly enlightenment, has everything to do with dying to what actually is. It's very simple. Enlightenment is nothing more than the complete absence of resistance to what is. End of story. What more freedom could there be than the end of any and all resistance and struggle? But to give up struggling against what is, there can't be any holding on to self-image, to points of view, to ideas, beliefs, and identities. This is very important because spiritual people often want to give up their sense of identity, but hold on to their points of view, how they see and believe the world to be. But we can't drag these into enlightenment because enlightenment has no point of view. It has no agenda. It has no demand upon the world or self or other. It has no center. It simply loves. And that's why I generally try to use the word uncaused love, so that we don't mistake it for love that is either given or taken. It just simply is, beyond the center of the me and all that includes. Love is. It just simply loves. It's the nature of, like water is wet. Water can't not be wet. It isn't giving, bestowing, rewarding, or taking away wetness. It's wet. Source is love. It's not in response to something. And it arises consciously. It arises consciously when, as Adya says, points of view, agendas, beliefs, demands on what actually is. And I'm not talking about like we're just going to lie down and never have another. It's not like a pile of mush experience where there'll just never be any preferences, opinions, ideas, and all of that. They just won't be believed as fundamental to reality. The expression will be shining like never before, consciously, freely. You know, our egos, that process, that function in reality, just can't conceive of this. You know, you can't conceive of it because what will happen if I just give up the fight? All the oppositional againstness, you know, all hell will break loose. This is the pointer. Give the mind to the heart, give the mind to the heart, give the mind to the heart. Give that narration, those beliefs, firm ideas about this, that, the other thing, especially about oneself. Give it to the heart, where the purity, the innocence, it's innocent. Is it not? The open-hearted sense of being. But then, you know, our minds come in and say, oh, too vulnerable, too risky, too much. And it is a very, very, very tender and precious process to unravel and bring into consciousness all of one's beliefs about oneself. And it doesn't end after identity has shifted. It doesn't end at all. Life is an unfolding. It's an unfolding. It is an instrument, a vehicle for bringing the unconscious into consciousness. The difference is when that process is experienced from a me standpoint, it hurts. And when it's experienced from one's true nature, it loves. It loves. So we unfold, we grow, right? We grow in this. We unfold in this devotion to discovering the truth beyond belief, beyond narration and really beyond the idea that there are opposites and opposition, so that one can shine as what one is and shine for what one values, rather than against, you know, the division, the war, the war. That is part of that that ego structure. Egoing, it's a verb. It's not an entity in any one of us that we can identify and get rid of. It's a process of believing. What did we talk about last time? False evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. Very convincing, seductive. Our habituated conditioning, whatever our personal flavor of that is. The mind and the story and the belief, thought, belief, feeling, thought, belief, feeling, more belief, thought, belief is fast. The attention can just wound up in an instant, you know. So we learn to we all have our own inner wisdom. Everyone, each one. Wisdom, be still and know, be still and know, is truly the map for you. You know, we can practice meditation, we can practice embodiment, we can practice taking a deep breath, taking a step back, giving the mind to the heart, questioning what we're believing, having the courage to question what we believe. That's key. Is this real? Is this really real? Is this like, what did somebody say at retreat one time? Fake news. My mind is just full of fake news. But it's a precious process. It's tender. It's tender. You know, many of us have sat with the discovery of a very like pre-verbal, primal sort of woundedness, you know, when all of this stuff is coming back to be returned to love, to come home, to be sort of released from mistaken identity, it really takes some courage. I'm very used to relying on I feel like I'm just using the word belief way too much, but we're used to relying on them. We're used to relying on our beliefs, the belief system. When this happens, well, I believe that about it. And then I behave in a certain way because I believe that about it. And then when this happens, well, I identify it as that, and then I believe something about it, and I because I am who I am, and I have these beliefs about who I am and what I do and all my labels and images and all that stuff. It's like a box. There's no liberated responsiveness. That is open-heartedness of the moment to moment to moment. And I'm not just talking about like flow states and, there's all kinds of phases. Phases, and phases, states of being, this, that, the other. I'm talking about an actual recognition, that it's like the difference between like doing your PhD on honey and bees and just eating honey. Just eating honey. A recognition of the true nature. And then life happens. Life is life. But the doingness becomes elevated through acceptance, enjoyment, enthusiasm, gratitude, awe, reverence, beauty, all the things we want are actually the truth of who we are. That's the funny thing. Not funny, not so funny. That's the truth of our nature. When we're believing otherwise, it's just painful. It's painful. And I'm not talking about, being nice all the time, or, the mind can come up with all kinds of crazy things, right? I'll be this. It'll look like this. I'll only have reactions that are the mind's idea of enlightened actions. Well, we'll be human, but it's extraordinarily ordinary. Because it's unself-conscious. It's unself-conscious. And I mean small self. I'm talking about small self now. I'm talking about that thing that goes out, interprets reality, and then comes back and talks about it from the me standpoint. Like when we would say something like, oh, I was so self-conscious in that situation. That particular function, I guess you might call it, or way of being, just isn't experienced all that much, if at all. And so the responsiveness is liberated so that it can be informed from and as the current moment, and rather than from memory or imagination. Belief and all of that. It's a tender thing to sort of drop the attention, drop the belief system, drop the identity, drop the demands on reality, drop the oppositional division, and sink into the heart of experience, the heart of reality, the heart of matter. As we empty in identity, as the identity becomes empty of me, it's filled with this loving presence that is. Will we still get pulled into conditioning? Yes. Yeah. But a good portion of it begins to kind of wind down because the belief isn't there propping it up. You can't believe it. So the mind starts kind of becoming sort of the belief structure, not our intellectual mind that like is creative and all of that. I'm just talking about like the narrative and the belief and the me. It starts fading out because it can't be believed. I can't. You know, when you walk into a room and you turn on the light switch, and it's not like we know where darkness goes or darkness is even a thing. Darkness doesn't even exist. The light just comes on. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we can't switch darkness off and on. It's only light. Light, consciously experienced, or the relative absence of it because we can't see it. I really wanted to bring forward today because it does feel like we have done a lot of inquiry into who am I, what is I, and also like the embodiment, the anchoring into the presence that the body is. But the heartfeltness, the wholeheartedness, the loving, heartfelt present moment give our minds to our hearts. We can believe a lot of things. But what happens to those beliefs when we just drop them down? What happens? Can they stand up to that, you know? Not generally. We may feel too vulnerable to stay there. We may feel too vulnerable to stay there. Back up to the, well, you know, I don't know because da 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 da. No, I'm not sure because when that person did that, I'm pretty sure da 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 da. You know, I mean the whole thing. I'm not saying that we are going to personally, you know, not have, how am I going to say this? Like Adya says, preference does exist. Preference survives enlightenment. Let's put it that way. We're going to be who we are, just more freely, without the description of self-consciousness and judgment and looking at this body-mind structure as if it has any kind of separate existence. It's like the flowers in a flower garden, the colors in a rainbow. You know, we don't expect that blue is somehow feeling less than red and has some sort of comparative, you know, self-conscious narrative in its head about how it actually should be blue, but it's really red. And, you know, I mean, it seems ridiculous to even say it like that, or like the roses, you know, looking at the lilies and feeling really badly about themselves. The beauty of waking up out of that is that it's permission to shine. Permission to shine as who one is. And then all of being benefits. The whole of being, the whole of existence benefits, because that's the purity of love. That's the purity of expression, original expression, divine expression. And the whole of existence celebrates. The whole of existence celebrates when we step in to the truth of who we are and willingly allow it to illuminate the individuated expression. infinite consciousness now appearing as this individual shining. We can really get ourselves into some deep pain with comparison, all of that, even in satsang or retreat. I've had people talk about, oh, they're getting it and I'm not getting it. And, this, that, why is everybody on this page and I seem to be on that page? And what a relief to let go of that and just unfold as one's divine, as an expression of the soul's divinity and wisdom and intelligence. We can't take the rosebud and start pulling off the leaves or the petals in order to get it to open. It's going to unfold divinely. That which animates. That which animates. Knows what it's doing, yeah? We get some ideas going that we're not. That we're somehow disconnected from source, love, truth, innocence. But the separating, the veil is the belief structure. Somebody, I think it was Sharon, had brought forward the projector and the screen metaphor. The shining. The Divine Mother, she who animates, Shakti Ma, and the screen of emptiness. And then, the film of our life. But what's key is whatever lens is on that camera. Whatever lens is on that camera. What lens are we going to put on there? What belief are we going to put between the shining and the screen? The lens of anger, the lens of division, the lens of what level of consciousness? The lens of me, the lens of there's a lot of levels of consciousness. Belief. Point of view, agenda, expectation. So when we begin to recognize the truth beyond belief, the I, prior to I am this, I am that, I'm the other, da 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 da. The view changes. Reality changes. Not because we are trying to change it or trying one more plan, one more path, one more this, one more that, one more this. It's spontaneously because, as Zadia said, it just loves. Source loves. It arises into consciousness, conscious experience. We go along thinking we have to create it, manufacture it, make peace, get love. But the truth is, we discover it as the inherent nature of who we are and everything else. It's a discovery, a recognition. It's peace that surpasses all understanding. Love beyond understanding, without cause. Joy. And it's not at all the same as, oh, it's all good, or some state of being where one is in denial of the actuality of human life with grief and, all the things. It's not that. And it's not in spite of all those things. It's in, amidst, amongst, and as all those things. And the mind is never going to go for that. It's joy or sorrow, right? In the mind's idea, joy or sorrow, this or that. How can something that is a tool in reality that is made for judgment, like, can I cross the street? Can I not cross the street? Our intellect. It's a tool of division, just like our language is. So how can that tool ever understand something that is beyond division? It can't. It's not the tool for the job. This is. The heart discerns. Not judges. Judgment and discernment are two different things. The heart is the what do we want to call it? Tools, a way to, utilitarian word for the heart. It doesn't work for me. I can't come up with it right now. An intellect in service to the heart. Well, what a beautiful thing. What a beautiful thing. That's creativity. That's yeah, the deep expressions and profound expressions of creativity. Creativity, where the intellect serves, it serves. When it starts to begin to think that it's the only game in town, it is the power of creation. Well, we've got problems because there are 8 billion mind worlds. 8 billion. So realizing what's beyond is key because it's universal. The heart, the questions of the heart, the expression of the heart. It's like everyone all over the world can generally relate to music, you know, in whatever language, whatever. It's universal. Whereas mind worlds are anything but universal. Mind worlds are well, I don't need to go into it. We know what the mind worlds look like. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. My beliefs, my thoughts, my feelings, owning, claiming and owning. But when we're here, we know our humanity, existence is universal. It's understood that we're the same here. It's understood. We don't have to intellectualize just taking care of one another. Acceptance and all of that, compassion. It comes and rises up from spontaneously from a shared source. A shared root. And you know, when we're believing something very strongly about a piece of reality, well, that piece of reality has no other way to be but the way we believe it to be. It has no other way to be than the way we believe it to be. This is why questioning the beliefs is really pretty much a part of every tradition. Questioning the beliefs, questioning. Because conditioned, unconscious, conditioned unconsciousness is a vast realm. It's vast. But the good news is anybody can wake up at any time. Happens all the time. What one is just shines forward into conscious awareness, and or one sits down and you may have looked 1,000 times at some question or inquiry or read something 100 times, and all of a sudden you read it. Oh, right. It dawns in a new way. It settles in the heart rather than the mind and unfolds there. I feel like I've been all over the place today. Thank you for listening. Just really kind of boils down to the true nature is beyond intellectual understanding. It's beyond belief. It's beyond separateness and opposition and duality. It's looking through our eyes right now. Right now. It's completely, absolutely, totally intimate. But obscured with what we believe ourselves to be. It's not far, it's not distant. We don't have to manufacture love or earn it. That's the big one, usually. We think we have to earn it. It's quite literally shining as this moment. And when we let go, let go, let go, totally and completely in any given moment, well, we're stood still, aren't we, by the awe and wonder of what really is beyond belief. How anything even actually exists is a complete wonder. And we're so busy naming it, chopping it up into bits and pieces, owning it, claiming it, fighting it, whatever it is we're doing, resisting. The astonishing wonder it's beyond comprehension, right? It is 100% beyond comprehension, beyond conceptualization. And the only thing that obscures that reality is just a mistaken identity. That's it. I wanted to read something else, but we started with this quote from Thomas Merton, and I wanted to close this talk with it as well. Then it was as if I suddenly saw the secret beauty of hearts, the depth of hearts where neither sin nor desire nor self-knowledge can reach, the core of reality, the person that each one is in truth in God's eyes. If only we could see each other that way all the time, there would be no more war, no more hatred, no more cruelty, no more greed. I suppose the big problem would be that we would fall down and worship each other. As the shining that we are. Okay, thank you.